Hi, Scorpio. It's Kendrick from Providence. It's been a while since, well, actually, no, it hasn't been a while since we've talked or chatted, but it's been a while since you've seen me here in the flesh like this, in one of your readings that was just like not a proofread, right? These are kind of late just because there's been a lot going on. I am also in the process of making some changes and some shifts, major changes, major shifts. Well, I feel like these are stepping stones to bigger shifts and smaller changes that lead to major changes. Or maybe it's all just changes. Okay, and why am I measuring it? Anyway, I'm a Libra. I have Pluto, your planetary ruler, in my first house, so my life is very much Plutonian. And I also have a little bit, well, half of my first house is Scorpio. Okay, and being that I have Pluto in Libra, um, I also have Saturn in Scorpio. So both of those planets are in my first house. So I have a planet in Scorpio in my first house, and I have a planet in my first house that rules Scorpio and Aries. If you take it that far. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get to your reading. I'm going to be using the same cards that I've been using for all of the monthlies. Archangel Power Tarot, Keepers of the Light by Kyle Gray. Archangel Power is by Doreen Virtue. I'm going to be using the Archangel Oracle cards by Doreen Virtue. It's a little windy. I have a new headset, so I'm trying to speak, clearly, loudly, and be pretty concise with my words. I'm trying to at least. The Romance Angels Oracle by Doreen and Runes, of course, because I always start the readings with these. Um, I would like to plug a couple of artists that are friends of mine on IG. Mandala209 made these wonderful mandalas for me. I have a couple of them here. I've already shown these in a couple of the videos. Same ones. Maybe in another video I'll show the other ones that I have. But this is one of them. Takes a lot of work, a lot of hours to do these. It's at Mandala209 on IG. Okay, here's another one. Really good for meditation. Really good for if you're trying to manifest, visualize, or if you're just trying to get some insight, open up yourself to some sort of spiritual energy. If you're trying to receive or channel. So let's go ahead and start with the runes. Let's do that one since it's a little bit smaller. Oh, also Stephanie Hymas. I believe it is at Stephanie Phie, right? Hymas Hymas on Instagram as well. One of the providers who has sent me one of her beautiful pieces of art. I will post a picture, or I will post a picture of it on here on YouTube so that you can see it. And I will also put one on my page on IG. But since you are a water sign and it's Cancer season, I'm going to show you one of the, I don't know, it's kind of like the skeleton of some sort of sea creature from Florida when I was there last year. So I'm going to be using that to channel your energy of water. Let me go ahead and pull a runes card for you. I just decided to go ahead and jump right in because, why not? I'm at Central Park right now on the west side, so I'm closer to Central Park West than I am to Fifth Avenue, which is on the east side. I used to live over here. I went to college over here for 4 years, and I also lived over here for a few years as well. Like for 3 years, maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago, or something like that. Actually, more like 5 years ago. That's crazy. No, maybe like three, because I moved from the Upper West Side in 2018, so it's been 2 years ago, but I lived there for 3 years, and before that, maybe like 4 years when I was at Juilliard. Okay, so let's see what this card is. So, ooh, this is totally your energy. It's like the feminine aggression, it's creativity. It's kind of like Mars, very Scorpio with this sort of like arrow here. This rune is called Lagoons, and this is like the power of creativity as the engine roars. Um, this also talks about your desires, your creative desires, and how you go about executing them. It's almost even like built up energy that needs to be released in some way, shape, or form. You need to do it physically, like maybe by working out, maybe by getting your hands dirty and doing something, maybe fixing something, repairing something. It could even be like a project that you've been meaning to do, you've been meaning to tackle. This does talk about something that needs to be dealt with, right? And it's going to take you tending to it. It's kind of tending to your needs as well. Um, your passions. So creativity, it could even be of the sexual nature. This could even just be like making yourself look sexier. If you've been, not to objectify, but I'm a Libra and I have a little bit of Scorpio, and Scorpios are known for being like very alluring and very sexy and very they have like this potency to them that people are just kind of like drawn to. So maybe you just need to kind of like tap into your own energy. You could even be having like a impulse, having an impulse. Your sexual impulse might be like on a little bit of a high right now. Um, you just need to find a way to uh, execute and let this energy sort of like play out in a safe way, in a healthy way. There's nothing wrong with getting down and dirty every now and then, or doing something that is a little bit, risque, or it could even just be like the way you're dressing. It could even just be like, uh, changing the colors that you're wearing, maybe blacks and reds, things like that. You could even be thinking about changing your hair color. Listen to your deep intuitive desires and also listen to your intuition. You know what I mean? You could just be having a depth of feeling right now, and you could be exploring this depth of feeling, and you might be uncovering some things there that were always there that were just kind of like hidden from you before. You know what I mean? And this could just have to do with some intimate relationships, or this could be with some things that might have been intimidating to kind of like really face. um, yeah. So let's go ahead and some of you could even be missing like someone that you used to have sort of maybe like an intimate relationship with. It could have even been physical. So let me go ahead and pull out these tarot cards. All right. So like I said, it's kind of windy here. I'm up on this rock, which is very Saturn Capricorn of me. And speaking of Capricorn, we have a full moon lunar eclipse coming up, I believe. Is it on the 21st of July, which is kind of like at the end of Cancer season and at the beginning of Leo? The new moon lunar eclipse was at 0 degrees of Cancer, I believe. I thought it was at 4, but it's at 0 degrees of Cancer, and it was. And that's critical, aneretic, right? And that would only mean that the next new moon would be in Cancer, also going into Leo. I don't know. It's kind of like a very cuspy, full new moon, the next one. I have to look at that. I've been asking people that, and I don't even really know if the new moon was actually at 0 degrees of Cancer. If you guys know how many degrees the Cancer new moon lunar eclipse was that we just had, could you let me know? Even in the comments. I try to always respond to the comments. Okay, so we're going to the tarot. This is the last shuffle. I'm like keeping all of my cards like in the boxes because it's so windy. You can see the trees and everything behind me. Look at my shirt. The cards would just like go all over the place. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this here, and I'm gonna pray that they don't blow away. Okay, we'll try to keep that in place. That one. Okay. All right. All right. We're doing something. I don't want them to get all Eating up on the corners just because I'm putting them on this rock. Okay, this is your immediate influence here. And at the bottom of the deck for you, four of Ariel. So we're thinking about, you know, stability, financial stability. We are, some of you might even be afraid of, like not having enough. You know what I mean? So you might just be a little bit reluctant to kind of like spend money. You could be holding on to what you have, you know. You could be wanting more, right? You're just kind of like being very careful about the amount of money that you spend. You're probably trying to be very smart about what you invest in. Some of you are actually willing to invest in something right now. You've probably been saving up for something and now you want to make this major purchase or something like that. Or, some of you might be, getting back to work. So this could be good for you as well. You might just be feeling a little bit more secure and a little bit more comfortable now that things are kind of like going in more of a positive direction at 11:11. The four of Ariel, it says when you give, you also receive, being resistant to change and extremes in how you spend and save money. Okay, so when I think of the four, I think of the Emperor, and I think of the fourth house, which is Cancer, right? And this is talking about that full moon, right? The moon rules the fourth house. That's going to be actually happening in Capricorn, okay? And that is going to be opposing the sun. This is sun in Capricorn. The sun is talking about power. The sun is talking about energy. It's talking about regenerative energy. It's also talking about, opportunity to kind of like restore the finances. I feel like that's what's happening as well. And this is probably like an opportunity to make an improvement happen because Sun and Capricorn energy is always climbing, is always building. This is also like needing to stay active and needing to stay busy. We're thinking about the body again because you know, you got that card, which was Laguz, which is like that feminine energy of passion, desire. It's very Mars, Scorpio type of energy. And then you have this four of Ariel, which is four of Pentacles. Money is a focus, security is a focus, time as well, time and money. So you could be trying to like make the most of your time. And also making the most of your money. You could be trying to figure out different ways of, affording new things, right? You could be making some new investments. This could be like AC, this could be car, this could be some improvements that are happening around the house as well. Because you could be speaking to like the leader of a company or somebody that's like the head of an organization on how you can kind of like get things in order. This could even be taxes for some of you. You know, you could just be like trying to stabilize, right? Your life and your family too. It's just trying to like make things a little bit. You're trying to solve some financial conflicts, and you're doing this so that you can keep some sort of like quality of life. So some of you really, really like the quality of life that you've been able to afford yourself, and you're working very hard to maintain that. Okay. Let me go ahead and flip over the card that's at the center for you. Right, the Empress. And the Empress is Venus, and Venus is talking about beauty and pleasure. And Venus definitely really does enjoy a high quality life. But Venus also knows that a high quality life, hey girl, hey, does not come just from like material things, or the decadence of like sensuality. It's concepts. Beauty is a concept. Art is a concept. Communication is a concept, right? And the Empress is always talking about multiplicity, many different ways to achieve many different things. You just have to be aware of what the possibilities are. You have to be willing to take risks. You have to be comfortable enough to take risks, and you have to be comfortably uncomfortable sometimes. Because then it's kind of like opening your mind to different facets of yourself. You're able to see different sides of yourself. You know, the Empress is also talking about like she's asking you, what are you waiting for? You know, if there's something that you want to do that is kind of like is from your own ingenuity and your own creative inspiration, waiting to do that thing isn't gonna really like make it happen. Like no one else. You could even be trying to like you might even be expressing your ideas to someone, right? You could be asking someone what for their advice, right? Or you could be just asking them what their opinion. As long as you can suffer consequences of waiting, or you can be rewarded for like taking action, right? And being the creative person that you were meant to be. No one was really meant to sit on their ass unless they just have some sort of like reason to, a real good reason to like not be immobile, right? But this is talking about mobility. This is talking about the ability to see opportunity when it's presented to you, and then you also have to be able to kind of like see the beauty in all things, because that's when you will start to see, where, where what was once impossible becomes possible. The Empress also says that anything is possible. This is the person that tries to cheer you up when you like can't do it yourself. Optimism, hope, that type of thing. The threes are also talking about the connection that you have to something. Something is important to you, and you care about it enough to want it to want to see it flourish, right? And it's something that's important to you. This card says time to act upon your plans. Creativity is rewarded, luxurious, or abundant resources. So, what type of beauty are you trying to manifest into your life? It does talk about a level of comfort, safety, um, you know, abundant resources, that type of thing. This says that, your resources are abundant. You just have to connect with the people around you or connect with your environment, that type of thing. Some of you might even be thinking of getting like a pet, and you kind of like thought about it for a really long time, and you're pretty sure that you want to do it. So I think that the next step would to go and explore what the possibilities are. If it has to do with a business or something like that, go explore what those possibilities are. Some of you also even need to just catch up with some people. You need to reach out, communicate to people, mother, probably, that type of thing. Um, some of you need to talk to your kids about important things, right? Um, some of you need to support your children's creativity, as well as support the child that lives, the inner child that lives within you, right? Support that child as well, right? Okay, the challenge is the Ace of Aria. So you've got to get started if you want to see some results. You know what I mean? No one ever got anywhere not doing anything. And if it's worth having, right, it's worth doing. Okay? So it's kind of like sometimes things might seem like they're really challenging or seem like they're really difficult. That's like sand being blown because there's like dust storms coming from the Atlantic or something like that. This is New York. But anything worth having is worth doing something about, right? Mm. So sand in my mouth, right? So it's kind of like gritting your teeth, doing the work, getting down and dirty, right? We talked about that as well. The Ace of Ariel is talking about opportunities being presented to you. This is the chance to make something real. This is a change of focus, or this is like seeing the potential in something. This could even just be like someone offering something to you, or seeing that like there's a reason to do something. So the Ace of Pentacles definitely gives you a reason, and it's more than just an idea. It's like, because this, right? This is what's available to you. This is what you can have, or you have your eye on something that you want. It's time to focus, right? Visualize, manifest what you want. You can have what you want. Also, this is just kind of like making something better, making an improvement, starting again, right? You could be back to square one with something, okay? Some of you. And that's not a bad thing. It's kind of like a starting over. It says it's your lucky day. New resources of money, time, or support can change, or sorry, a change in job or promotion, right? So this is definitely saying that something is going to come in and change your reality for you and make you feel kind of like better, hopeful, relieved, right? Because the Ace of Pentacles is definitely some sort of relief. It could be financial relief coming in. You do have the four of Ariel here, and you have the Empress, so it does talk about, things being made available to you. Okay, which is really amazing, right? Let's go ahead and look at your past, the lovers, which is the six, right? So this is Virgo, this is money, this is commerce, this is, all things considered, things are starting to work and function better as a machine, because Virgo is kind of like, it gives us that idea that we have to always consider all of the different variables in order for us to stay one step ahead, right? This is saying like in the past or in the recent past, recently, you were just thinking about how you can stay one step ahead of your responsibilities and staying one step ahead of the process, being ready for whatever it needs, the process needs, right? And also just kind of like being aware of someone else's needs. If somebody needs to talk, listen. If you need to talk, maybe they need to listen more. Also, this is kind of like, seeing where things pay off for you, you know, um, because this is beauty, right? The lovers is talking about beauty. It's talking, it's Venus, but then it's also uh, Eros or Mercury. So it talks about if something is worthwhile, making something worthwhile, seeing how something is worthwhile, right? And just doing all that you can to assist, okay? Because the sixes and Virgo are always talking about something that makes it possible, makes a way, okay? It's trying to like give you a lane, right? What lane are you in? You know, just kind of like being aware of what your message is too. What are you trying to say? And if you know what you want to say, can you make it clear to others? Can you make your needs clear to others? Are they being met? You know, do you see uh, are things improving or are they disintegrating? You know what I mean? It's like that type of thing. So you have to be very considerate, right? Um, this could also just be like working together in partnership with someone for business, right? It's saying make the right choices from your heart. You're committed to whatever this purpose is, and you will find power in that commitment, and you will find power in like the love that you have for what it is that you're committed to, whether it's a job, whether it's a person, whether it's kind of like being committed to your health. So some of you could be newly committed to your health, definitely, in different ways. You could have just become aware of certain things and you're like, okay, this is where I need to make some changes. Because the lovers does talk about being aware of where you need to make some changes and actually being wanting to. Because this is not a fight. This is kind of like, oh my God, I want to make these changes, right? Because I like know that it'll be beneficial for me, and I know that it'll pay off in other ways in my life, definitely. Because if we're thinking about the devil, which is 15, which is reduced to a 6, then it's kind of like I don't want to make the change. It's kind of like being stubborn, but this is not. This is saying that being flexible in your mind is actually going to help you get more things done, and other people are going to see you more clearly. You know, Everybody has things that they need to work on. No one is perfect. That's the beauty of life, right? That teaches us how to have compassion for people, because no one is perfect, right? And we see that in many different ways, you know, right? What is perfection? We don't even know what that is, you know. As I say that, the two of Raphael comes out, which is Cancer. Okay, so this is Venus in Cancer, and that is where Venus is right now, right? Am I right? Venus? Oh no, I'm sorry. Venus is in Gemini, but she's going direct, and by the time she's fully direct, she will be in Cancer. So we will feel that energy. Okay, so once Venus goes into Cancer, you will start to understand. You'll have a deeper understanding of what the meaning behind this commitment was, or you just might be feeling like I'm newly committed, or I might just be feeling purely. Uh, you might just be feeling like back in love with somebody. A relationship could be replenished by the time that Venus goes into Cancer. Because it'll be after the eclipses, it'll be after probably the Mercury retrograde. So there will be some things that will start to clear up for you. The two of Raphael does also talk about being fearful of what you know, you have fears about your relationship, right? Because there's some hidden things and there's some things that are kind of like confusing. Um, but the two of Raphael and the two of Cups is talking about an emotional connection that you have with some a beautiful emotional connection, you know, a worthwhile emotional connection. It does say two hearts dedicated to creating something wonderful. Kindred spirits don't give up on those you love. So, you know, showing the compassion as well. Don't be afraid to show someone compassion, you know. Don't feel, you know, you might even just be feeling vulnerable yourself. Okay. Um, your emotions could, you're trying to balance out your emotions as well, you know, and you could just be trying to balance out your emotions with another person. You might have a need to communicate your feelings to someone, or someone might have a need to communicate their feelings to you about something. Um, right. Some of you are kind of like just wanting to go back to work. Um, yeah, so you just need to be very clear about how you feel, okay? We want you to practice compassion, but also clarity, right? Yeah, and the twos are also talking about you know, encouraging, being encouraging, okay? Opening up, right? A reflection. So you could just be reflecting on some feelings and on some emotions, and they could be some things that, like I said, are you've been dealing with, right? And you're at the beginning stages of dealing with this, and this could involve another person, obviously, because of Scorpio. So, you know, sometimes our true feelings can be shocking to us, and we react in certain ways that we might be uncomfortable with. Okay, so let's look at your moon. Oh, wow, yeah, definitely. Because the Queen of Raphael, which is Cancer, right, is double water, cardinal water, Cancer, in the moon position. So we're dealing with the eclipse that just happened. You know, Queen of Raphael she wants to feel. She wants to heal. Okay, so this could be you healing from something. And the cycles of the moon are very important right now, especially to you. Maybe you just feel them a little bit more. You know, this could be like getting some loving advice from someone, or this could just be like needing to spend time with someone, or just kind of like, you know, with home and family, right? It's quality time with in the home, quality time with the family, getting some insight from those people that you love, you know, people that are important to you, someone in your life that kind of motivates you, right? That type of thing. It says, follow your heart, a love of home and family, trustworthy psychic information. So, you know, someone actually might be giving you some advice that is really good, and it's just coming from a gut feeling that they may have, or this could even just be you going with your gut on something, right? Because Cancer is the mother, right? Which is the Queen of Raphael, Queen of Cups. It also rules the breast and it rules the stomach. So it talks about what you might be consuming and what you might be digesting, that type of thing, what you might be connecting to, what you're pulling in. You know, and that's love. You know, food is love, nurturing is love, right? And healing is nurturing, nurturing is healing. So it's all about that healing from your past emotions, okay? And you could just be feeling them all over again because something may have like stirred them up or motivated you in a new way, okay? And you, these could just be emotions that you have tied to your childhood that you don't know because it's like, you know, those things are kind of like hidden. right? And sometimes when you realize how you might be emotionally triggered by something that you feel like you have dealt with, it's just saying that like we're always going to be dealing with traumas that come from like past experiences, especially from our childhood. They just kind of like get less and less, or a little bit better as we continue to go, you know. But you kind of like learn from that inner child, like the adult that you are now continues to learn from the inner child, because you almost become like a parent to that inner child for yourself. So wow. Let's go ahead and look at what's Ten of Gabriel. Okay, that card just popped up. It's it's saying like ask for help. You've been through a lot. It's kind of like there's no need to suffer alone. But it's not kind of like I don't want you to bring anyone else into your suffering. It's kind of like find people that are going to help pull you out of the suffering. You know what I mean? Because you got to come out of that. It's like just wallowing in that space, in that self pity, and just kind of like it discourages you. It just kind of perpetuates that sense of restlessness and you know just restlessness, sadness, and pessimism. We don't want to be there. We want to be uplifted. We want to be encouraged. We want to look at what is working for us, right? Because that's what is going to actually. Those are the systems that work for you, right? Or those are kind of like the best functions for us, right? So it's kind of like as long as you are paying attention to what doesn't work, nothing will, right? You got to kind of like invite that energy in. Oh, okay. So this is good. Your anxieties, right, and what you hope for, what you're wishing for, is kind of like freedom of expression. I feel like you might be feeling as though you can't say how you feel because it might spark some kind of like defensive response from someone, right? You could be waiting for somebody to tell you how they really feel, or someone could be waiting for you to tell them how you feel. Or this could also just kind of be like, needing to spend some time with someone to understand where they're coming from, or just to kind of like get an idea of what the situation is currently. These are a lot of feelings that have been going around, feelings that have been changing. Um, and this is also saying that like sharing this information and having this talk and trying to relate on an emotional level is healthy. It's kind of like talking about things is good, and also allowing yourself to go through the flow of the emotions, right? The process, right? Because emotions do have to be processed. Okay. It says reasons to celebrate a community of friends, right? So you can trust that your words and your feelings are going to be received well. They won't be judged. It's going to be objective. It's kind of like if we can go into this thing with some objectivity, then we won't get our feelings hurt. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like it's better that way too, right? Nobody wants to be victimized. Nobody wants to be a victim. So don't do that to yourself either, right? This card does say reasons to celebrate a community of friends, happy announcements, right? Because it's kind of like, I'm so glad we talked. That's kind of like a happy announcement. It's kind of like we're saying things, we're sharing, and like we're also healing by doing that. Happy announcements in regarding relationships or children, right? So this could be like some improvements that might be happening. uh, if your child might have had some kind of like condition, right? And they might just be like healing from that. It might be getting a little bit better. This could also even be talking about travel. So there's some movement going on here, which is good, right? It's kind of like time away to enjoy something different, okay, which is always good. Oh, in your Mars position, you have divine guidance, which is the Hierophant. And this is talking about, belief in yourself, right? And also like being committed to oneself, you know? What's your level of consciousness, right? What are you aware of? What are you sensing? Okay? And what are your senses telling you, right? How are you being inspired to believe, you know? This is also like a marriage card, right? So this could be talking about, a relationship or a commitment, could be seeing some improvements, right? If there were some challenges, right, because this is in the Mars position, if there were some challenges that were happening at work or within friendships or in families, those things are going to be uh, improving. Okay, because it's the divine guidance card. It's not another five, which is talking about conflict, but this is talking about learning from conflict, right? That's divine guidance. As long as you're learning from the conflicts or the issues or the problems that you may face or the things that challenge you in your life that make you question who you are or where you come from, your family, that type of thing. Uh, we're all learning from each other, honestly, and that is divine guidance. It's kind of like if I can be understanding and I can be serving of myself, but also be serving of other people and be serving of the greater good. Because the Hierophant and divine guidance is like the greater good. It does want um, a sense of self, but it also wants a sense of community. You know what I mean? Divine guidance definitely asks, like, who are you in your life, right? What do you mean to you, and what do you mean to other people? Right? But you've got to be careful when you question who you are to other people because sometimes your level of consciousness as to how you are seen by others is not the way that they see you, and I'm the same way, I know this, but it's kind of like I'm always in my head because I'm a Libra, but then I'm also very like investigative because I have that Pluto in my first house. So I'm always going through like my relationships, my intimate relationships, the things that I feel, the things that I believe, the things that I don't believe in that might be challenging me in my life with my family, with my friends. You know what I mean? Because it's like you do struggle with your own beliefs and how they clash with the beliefs of others, and that is what divine guidance is. That's the hierophant. And it's kind of like, okay, well, either we get along or we don't get along, but we can still maintain a level of respect because divine guidance and the hierophant is talking about respect and it's talking about responsibility. Okay, so we do have a responsibility to respect elders. Okay, and we also have a responsibility to respect people that are in that means something in our lives. Like 'cause sometimes people in high positions don't actually deserve the respect. In divine guidance and five, the higher thing, it's talking about what you are deserving of as well. Because Taurus energy is saying like I might be expecting some things, I might be feeling entitled to some things just because of like the contract or the bond that we have, but really you may not be entitled to anything, or somebody might be saying that. This could be an older person telling a younger person that they're not entitled to something, or they just might be feeling entitled, right? That type of thing. I've had people tell me that, and I've said that about those very same people. So it really is just like how you see yourself and how you see others and what you believe in, what you've been taught, that type of thing. And it's also the position that you're in life, right? Because some people might say that some people are entitled and they're not. They just are, they might they might be impoverished, and some people are entitled and they have everything, you know. So it really is just how your level of consciousness and what it means to you, right? Okay. This is also saying that like somebody is inflexible in something. Someone is inflexible in their belief systems, because it's a five, so it's related to the fifth house of Leo. That Leo can be flexible in its fits. So this is stubbornness, right? Somebody doesn't really want to budge on something, and it could have something to do with a roommate, a friend, business or family stuff. Now, it could also have something to do with business and finances with a family member or something like that, because a lot of families have family owned businesses, and we get into some tricky situations there, right? When it has something to do with that. Or, a business situation could even just be like people who share an apartment and everybody has their responsibility to pay what they have to pay. Sorry, to pay what they have to pay, and do what they have to do to make sure that it's a living situation that's going to be conducive to everyone's lives, right? It's going to be adding instead of taking. Uh, Let me just flip over these cards because I don't even know what I have here. Oh, this is probably in the relationship placement. Eight of Raphael, right? So this talks about loss, but then it's Saturn in Pisces. And Saturn in Pisces is talking about, I love that you are out in nature. You stay in there in New York City. It's not easy staying in. I'm a Cancer moon, so I love being inside. I can do a lot of things inside the house, and I have Libra, so I can like kind of make any experience like beautiful and like, ooh, this is great. But it is nice being out in nature because my living situation was a little bit crazy, and I'm moving in the next week, and I need to be outside, and I need to be kind of like by myself. Uh, yeah, and I'm a double Libra, so that's kind of like different for me. But I am not going to be that Libra that everybody always complains about. But everybody wants to look cute though, right? Right. Um, I'm telling you, because when people weren't able to get their haircuts or things like that for 3, 4 months, and then they get their haircut after 3 or 4 months, it literally changes the way that their attitude is. It changes the way that they respond and connect with people. It changes the way that their mood is. It changes everything. So, how you look and how you feel, right? How you feel, Cancer, and how you look, right? Libra. Look good, feel good. It's important. A shower can change can change a homeless person's whole outlook, right? If they've been waiting for a shower. So Libra is a very fierce sign, and so is Scorpio, because I have both. But this is kind of like your energy. I used to date a Pisces whose sun was in their eighth house. This is kind of like that energy. This is not wanting to let go of something, or it's almost like seeing the value in something and not wanting to let it go because it has that value, or not wanting to let something go because it's like you want to possess it, you want to continue to possess it, or it wants to continue to possess you, or you want it to continue to be the way that it always has been. It's like you have to have you have to be strong in your emotional process. You can handle the weight of your emotions. That's what this is saying too. And it's also saying like don't take that emotional baggage around. You know, leave it. Leave the emotional baggage with the last relationship that it was a part of. It's kind of like you might even be feeling tempted right here. This could be sexually, right? And it's just saying like you know what to do. You don't want to be stuck with something on your conscience, and you don't want to have to suffer the consequences of not listening to your intuition, right? For real, because it's an eight, so it's related to clairvoyancy, right? Being that Pluto is very clairvoyant. Pluto is exalted in Leo, which is the strength card, number eight. So we're talking about you gotta leave something behind in order to transform. Whatever that thing is for you, you know what it is. It's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be hard because it's an eight, right? This could be a relationship for some of you guys. You know, you may value the drama, you may value the depth of feeling that you felt, whether they be good or bad emotions, and no emotion is good or bad. It's really just like a navigational system to let you know what's occurring that you may not be paying attention to, but you might be absorbing and feeling, right? Um, So yeah, this Eight of Raphael is talking about loss as well. You don't want to suffer the loss of something or feeling the loss of something, or you don't want to feel vulnerable to like how the sacrifice, right? Oh, I'm gonna feel like it's not in my life anymore. It's gonna feel different. I'm gonna notice that it's different. I'm very sensitive to that feeling of like loss or having to let something go that I feel like I don't want anyone else to kind of like have. I don't know. It's crazy. This is saying this is an eight. It's saying that you can have nine, you can have 10, but it's like sometimes we stay involved in relationships because we fear that there isn't going to be anything better than that, right? When really you're kind of like emotionally complacent, you know. It's not necessarily, it's kind of like there might be glamorous, there might be some glamour there, some glitz, okay, because Pisces is talking about it's very glamorous. It's diamonds on Neptune, okay, but then it's also 16 degrees on Neptune as well, okay, and then with this 8 being here, Pluto is talking about distance. Leo is also talking about like, you know, you kind of like can't take it with you because everything has its moment, right? And the sun is very much like the moment, right? But then Saturn is talking about consequences. So there will be consequences to not giving something up or not letting something go or not seeing that something has served its purpose for you. You know, somebody might even be holding on to a collection of something, right? Or somebody could be holding on to belongings, to items that may have belonged to someone that is no longer around, whether they're just like not in your life anymore, or they might be like, this person could be deceased. But this is gonna, I think these are things that like you're holding on to that used to belong to someone or that someone gave you. And, they just kind of like stir up these feelings from the past, and it kind of like just keeps you connected to that thing, Scorpio, to that person. you know it's kind of like it's making you weak. You think that it makes you strong, but it actually makes you weaker. There's something better waiting for you. Do what you know is right for you. A spiritual quest, right? It does talk about learning a lesson that transforms you, that allows you to see that there is more opportunity for you somewhere else. You don't have to possess something because there might be, you have to let something go in order to get something else, right? The world, completion, right? You learned your lesson, okay? This is definitely talking about consequence or reward, right? It says a very happy ending coming full circle, spiritual growth and insight. So I'm feeling good about that Eight of Raphael and that Eight of Cups that came up, that we were looking at before for you, right? You're feeling lucky. Um, when I started doing your video, I was like, why didn't I just do my Libra Oracle reading that I was going to do? Because Libra, I did their tarot reading, but I didn't have the Oracle cards. So I'm going to do theirs, and that they said, lucky Libra. But the world is great. This is like, you don't have to wait any longer, right? You can move on to the next stage of something, you know? This is also saying like, some of you may have like paid off a credit card. Some of you may have like, finished school. Some of you may have done, just completed some sort of like task because Saturn is the taskmaster and the world, like in esoteric astrology, we use the earth and the earth rules Sagittarius, right? And, this could be talking about travel because Sagittarius talks about travel. And when you're traversing, when you're going around the earth, that's travel. That's very Sag. Expansion, right? So you could be learning something new. Um, yeah, that type of thing. You could be finished or done with like a Capricorn, an Aquarius, a Libra, a Gemini, right? But you definitely have learned something. There's definitely been a decision. there's definitely been like a reward or a consequence, or there's definitely been like a goal that has been reached, okay? Or that's what we're looking towards. Yeah, work, the Justice card. But in this deck, it's number 8. So remember this, the 8 of Raphael, which is Saturn and Pisces. The Justice card rules Libra, right? And Libra is ruled by Venus, which is exalted in Pisces. But what planet is exalted in Libra? Saturn, which is the world. So you're definitely learning a karmic lesson, or there's some sort of like karma or some sort of lesson that's being learned in relating, in relationships, right? And learning how to let go of certain relationships, and learning that you have to be strong and you have to stay encouraged even when a decision has been made that maybe isn't the one that you wanted, right? Because it's like sometimes when people make decisions for themselves that we didn't want them to make, that's a problem for us, not them, right? And vice versa, right? Because you don't have to make a decision that somebody else wants you to make. It does say fight for justice and equality. Rulings made in your favor, don't give up. So stay encouraged. You know what I mean? You know, there's strengths and weaknesses here. It's okay. But we want to focus more on the strengths than the weaknesses. The weaknesses are there to so that we can turn them into strengths, you know, right? Because it just exposes certain things, right? You know, I don't know. I think it's like in some Chinese cultures that they take like if there's a vase or something that breaks, they take this I don't know. It's like a mortar type of process, but they put like gold leaf or something in it so that the cracks, when they repair whatever object that broke, the cracks are beautiful and it just reminds them of the inner strength, right? Um, that we as humans have, and that we have to sort of like keep a level of objectivity about whenever we experience things that shake us in life. We have to appreciate uh, how we became stronger from those things. With porcelain, yes, love it. But the justice card, that's fairness, right? There's truth. There's trusting that a situation is going to turn out in your favor. You know, justice is ruled by Venus, which is a benefactor, right? Or a benefic planet. You know, a decision is going to transform or change something forever, right? And it could have to do with the relationship. Um, there could be a Leo involved. There could be a Scorpio involved, or there could be a Libra involved. You know, is the decision justified? You know, that type of thing. Some of you need to ice an injury in order to help it heal. Some of you like don't like icing because it makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable. I'm the same way. But if something feels swollen, or if it feels like you should ice it, do that. Okay. And some of you also need to kind of balance out your sexual desires as well. This could even just be talking about dancing. You know, if you're not having sex or something like that, then maybe you need to do something where you're moving, right? Where you're actually like shifting your weight around, okay? Because the eighth, the eighth house rules the genitalia, but then also the strength card, which is Leo, that's the spine, and Libra, which is the justice card, rules the hips, right? And the hips don't lie. So let me go ahead. Shout out to Shakira. Let me go ahead and pull the other cards that I never got a chance to pull for you. I'm going to put these back. The wind stopped blowing. I need to check the time. I wish I had like a watch or something. My wrists are really small. I know, right, Shakira? If you all could like the video, that would be amazing. I have about 6 minutes I could give you all. And we're going to go ahead and do these oracle cards. I'm going to do the Keepers of the Light. the Archangel Oracle, and the Romance Angels. Because I already pulled the runes. Oh, people are like not into the Oracle cards. So, all right, let me just put these back. All right, everybody, wish me luck on my move. I'll listen to the song after this. And yes, my hips. Yes, listen to Hips Don't Lie, you guys. And you did see the card that came up at first for you, La Deuce. I can read that one to you if you'd like me to at the end, right? Since it's what we started with. Okay, I'm pulling Romance Angels. There's a codependency here. It could be a relationship, you know, because sometimes we're codependent on energies that other people bring around that kind of like distract us from our own. That's why I'm trying to be in my own energy, so I'm not distracted. You need to, start getting things done. Oh, I've also been thinking about getting an antibody test. Have any of you taken an antibody test? Do you have a place to move? I'm sorry you had to move so soon. Oh, I know, right? For 6 months, it's okay. I knew when I moved in that I would move in 6 months, just because I'm saying I did, and that was before COVID or anything happened. I didn't know why, and I was gonna try to. I was hopefully going to start working for the Westminster Kennel Club. Take what? Oh, I don't even know. I'm just talking. I forgot what I said. That always happens. I'm sorry. Neptune in the third house in Sagittarius, conjunct the galactic center. I'm just like, and you guys are Scorpio, so I could say don't tell anybody. I know the wind, right? I'm sorry. So this is your Romance Angels Oracle card. These are very specific. So if this does not fit your story, don't make it fit. Sometimes I don't even like doing love readings just because, yes, work, Ophiuchus. Um, Sometimes love readings just kind of like, I feel like they distract us from ourselves. Because a lot of times, oh wow, this is a really great card for you and us. I'm just going to hit it up. Let go of control issues. And Scorpio, that's something that you probably hear all the time. I know I have control issues, definitely with Pluto and Saturn being in the first. But because I'm a Libra and my sun is, in a place that it's kind of like, I can like relinquish control, but really, I want it. Right. Seriously, I can admit that because I like there's certain things like, and because I have like strong Virgo, like I have strong ass Virgo energy. So like in Western and in Vedic. So when I like walk into a room, I can immediately see things that need to be changed. Even in my own space, right? But it's kind of like I can't ignore certain things, and I understand how that drives people crazy because my ex is a Pisces, and I really did understand like the Virgo-ness of me because they really letting go is hard. It really is, right? I'm already talking about my ex. Yeah, it is because it's kind of like sometimes we feel like that symbol of Virgo and that symbol of Scorpio is almost kind of similar, right? And I feel like both Virgo and Scorpio want to see changes happen in areas because they know that they would feel good about those changes occurring. But sometimes, with Scorpio energy, it comes from a place of ego. And I'm dealing with that too because I have Pluto in my first house. And Saturn has a lot to do with ego as well. But because I got all that Libra, it's good. It like balances me out. But it's like people. It's like when people don't screw the caps on things tight enough, and every time you go to that thing, you're like, I really wish that you would just do that. You know what I mean? It's like that type of thing. But then sometimes it can be a bigger situation too. You know. Um, yeah. Let's pull these. Because I like the Keepers of the Light, but then like the Archangel Oracle cards to me are a little bit more impactful. So let's look at this card, at these keepers of the light, which are beautiful. They have a lot of these kinds of things get on my nerves, right? There's this thing with one of the guys that I used to date, and I will always see like food specks and stains and things like on the corner of the cabinet where the knobs are to open it. And I just be like, why are your hands always dirty when you open the fridge or you like turn the faucet on? You know what I mean? I'm like, why are the cabinets so dirty, like in these areas where you have to touch them to open them? You know, like it just drives me. Yeah. Oh, I love him so much. But what also, he would so be so mad at me for saying this on camera. But he also will load the dishwasher and wait for the dishes to like pile up in it. And I'm like, the smell of everything kind of like waiting for you to start it is driving me nuts. So like I only see him like once every month or once every 2 months or something like that. We broke up maybe like 5 years ago. And I knew that that was going to happen at the 10-year mark. And I told some friends of mine in maybe August, I was like, you know, we're probably going to break up in like whatever, 8 months or something. And that 8 months came, and it was like at the 10-year mark. I gagged. This is before I started reading, but maybe I still was doing that at that time. That's the gag. Okay, keepers of the light. These are sort of like messages, okay, from divine figures, you know, people in history. You know, what was this? Oh, he's a Pisces. Because oh wow, oh my God, I did. You know how Pisces is. Even though they are water, and I guess they would be with Slytherin, they're kind of Hufflepuff. But my son is in my 12th, so I have that energy. Which I always was like, dude, like we are both saying the same thing sometimes, right? You know how they are, right? They can kind of be clumsy too, but we love them so much. We're like, oh, you're so, you know, whatever you are that is endearing. You're that, and I can forgive you. But that doesn't mean that, you know, sometimes people will take advantage of your, or take for granted, or take advantage of your ability to forgive them, which is actually giving them power. Pluto is the esoteric ruler of Pisces, which is funny because Pluto rules you. It's interesting that we're talking about Pisces so much in your video. So you got Ascension, Serapis B, which is wonderful. Uh, very Egyptian. This one comes out a lot. So I feel like, you know, Ascended Masters, right? If you're into that. Also, definitely listening to binaural beats. I kind of like to listen to more pure tones than a synthesized sound because I come from a classical music background, a classical, like, conservatory type, and I like just pure sounds. I don't, I mean, like, I love a new order. I love a synthesized, like, Bob. But in terms of, like, meditating, I need it to be like a real cello or real continuous bass or like a piano or something like that. But this says move into your true self, right? Which is that justice card from the Archangel Power Tarot, which is number 8. Because the 8 is talking about the self, but then justice is talking about the true, and the true self could be that Leo energy of the 5th house, which is also the number 8 card, which is strength. But then at the same time, if the justice card is number 8, then the strength card is number 11. And when we look at number 11, that's a 2, right? When we add those two ones together, and the judgment card is number 20, that is a 2 as well. So we're going back to Pluto. We're going back to power, okay? And control, and letting go control, right? Releasing control, relinquishing control, submitting to something that is out of our control, right? Rise above the darkness. The light is here, right? They're kind of like, you know, cute. Now, the archangel. oracle cards, which a Pisces gifted me, which is so funny, and this one too. But this one right here, this is gonna be like, and look, it's talking about being outdoors. Right here, I am. Let's see. You have a brilliant idea, right? Go with that. Oh, so the card that you got is gentleness. Look at that. What we just talking about instruments? Archangel Sandalphon, which makes me think of sandalwood. So sandalwood is going to be an element of your meditation if you have some. If you don't have sandalwood, maybe use like a cedar, or maybe use like a Palo Santo or something like that. But it says be very gentle with yourself at this time. Surround yourself with gentle people, situations, and environments. So it's kind of like, sometimes we're very sensitive to like the people that are in our environment, to the sounds. There could be like um, just noise going on, outside distractions, so you kind of have to, right? Ooh, the wind. You kind of have to like put yourself in a setting or in a mental space, right? By listening, you can put your headphones on. I got these headphones so that I could kind of like really drown out anything that was impeding on my mental space, right? It was affecting my clarity. So I had to get these and I had to tune out the world. So sometimes you have to do that. And that's being gentle to yourself, right? Anyway, I'm clearing these cards out. That was really awesome. Thank you. We started off kind of like, but then we drove it home. Scorpio, definitely follow Mandala 209. Okay, here it is on the back of this on IG. Tell them that Kendrick sent you from Providence Tarot. Okay, these are the mandalas. And also, don't forget to follow Stephanie Heimlis. I'll leave both of their information in the description box. If you'd like to get a personal reading from me, email providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram. It's Providence Tarot. My personal account is NYC Kendrick. And if you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. Please subscribe and like, share, comment. Okay? I'll see you guys later. And girls, everyone, happy Friday.